It was good to get a win. It's tell of two halves. The first half we played very well. Second half we didn't play well at all. And the thing we had to do was finish the game. We did not finish that game the other night. And you look at the first half, Stein managed the offense well, scored the 3 out of the first 4 possessions. The second half, where there's no rhythm, there was no tempo, just never could get anything established. Defensively, played very well, but the thing we have to do on defense, we cannot allow a team to run the ball against us. And we allowed that the other night, ended up with a guy getting over 100 yards rushing. The thing we did do well was we were able to create turnovers, with 3 turnovers. Offensively, we gave away 4, ended up with 4 turnovers, and the thing we didn't do on offense is we just never was consistent in running the football, just never got it going. I thought our running backs with Vic Anderson and with Jeremy Wright would have a big night. They ended up not getting a lot of yardage, which I thought we would be able to do. This team this week, FIU, is similar to us. It's a team that plays very hard, a team that's playing with a lot of confidence right now. If you look at, they go and beat North Texas very handily on Thursday night, just like we were. And the thing they did is they have a big player in T.Y. Hilton. The thing Hilton can do is that he's an all-purpose guy. You look at him, he ended up with 7 catches for over 130 yards, and then just return yardage, ended up returning a kickoff. The thing we're going to have to do is contain T.Y. Hilton. But their whole offenses are centered around the quarterback. He does a really good job with Carroll, the guy that played at Mississippi State, ended up transferring there to FIU. Returned 16 starters. Their defense, you will see a defense that's similar to our defense in that they blitz a lot, put a lot of pressure on the offense, a team that tried to disrupt rhythm, which they do with their defense. But it was just fun. I had a chance to watch them on tape also. It was just fun watching their defense, watching their offense. So it's going to be a great challenge for us. The thing we're going to have to do is play a lot better than we played in the Murray State game.
Any concerns about Will's ankle? What went on with that since the game?
No, he ended up finishing the game, so there's no concerns. Will will be ready to go play, but there's no concerns with his ankle at all.
Charlie, what about Bellamy?
Bellamy ended up playing there with the first quarter, ended up taking him out. He's going to be a day-to-day, and hopefully by game time we'll be able to get him back on the field.
Is that a hamstring he had?
Yes, he has a hamstring.
Preston Brown and Dexter had like 12 assisted, unassisted, both of them. Your safety and your 2 safeties who led us all last year didn't have quite as many. Is that because of the defensive line, the Dexter and Preston, the safeties didn't have a good name, or was it part of the offense that they were running?
Well, you just hope those safeties don't have a lot of tackles, because once it breaks that line of scrimmage, then we will have issues. But just to see our backers, it's just so good to see Preston Brown play so well. Preston ended up hitting the ball a lot. Dexter ended up hitting it 16 times, plus he had a tackle for a loss. He had a interception, but those 2 linebackers played very well for us. And I told Dexter would have had an even bigger game. He ended up missing probably 3 or 4 tackles, so it probably would have put him in a 20 ball hit range. But it was so important for our backers. That was a game for our backers to play well just because of the offense that they ran.
You said contain Hilton, Charlie. How do you go about that? I mean, do you structure game plans focus on him, or what do you do?
Well, it's not so much you structure. It's just whenever, he's going to get some catches. So we're going to have to corral the ball and get enough guys to him and make sure that when we get around it, that we get him tackled. It's the yardage after the catch is going to be critical, because we know they're going to throw the ball out there to him. Now, we allow him to go break a tackle and then go get 20 extra yards. We got to corral him.
What do you see as the sticking points in that second half offensively? I mean, is it enough cause for concern to cause some major overhauls for this week, or is it more or less just kind of tweaking?
Well, it's just what happens, and you see it, and I saw it at halftime, and should have addressed it at that time, is that when we get a lead, it's all about going to finish the game. And a lot of times guys say, okay, it was 21-3, okay, we have the lead. Now don't sit on the lead, now go finish the game. And so offensively we go out there and we get the ball. So you talk about the first 5 minutes of the second half is important, because it's the first 5 minutes, either we got to take the ball, go drive and go score, and now we have a chance to put the game away, and then we can really play at the pace we want to play at. But we didn't get that done. So now you get out there and you mess around and there's 3 and out. Then you get the ball back and you mess around again and there's 3 and out. And then you just don't have the leadership and the confidence within guys right now where it's say, hey, where we can bounce back and say, okay, guys, let's go take the ball and go score with the football. And that's what we don't have right now. And that's why it's important for guys like for Vic Anderson, for Chichester. Bellamy wasn't out there, but the guys on offense, it's important for them to now take the leadership and say, hey, we got to take this ball and go drive and go score.
Common belief is that the biggest improvement comes between game 1 and 2, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But you had so many guys that hadn't really played before play that game. Do you feel like you have a license to really improve a lot off of that?
Well, you would like to think that, Paul, because you look at, you had your offensive line, it was all new. You had 5 new guys up front. You had a quarterback that had played. And so, even at the tailback position, they played 2 years ago, didn't play as much last year because of a lot of power. But still, though, you would still like to go finish that game because that was one of those games that you don't want to not disrespecting Murray State, but that game could have got out of hand if we really wanted it to. We had to play up to the level that we were capable of playing at.
Sorry to follow up on his question. In your experience, has the week 1, week 2 improvement been dramatic, or I mean, does that hold true? It's kind of common wisdom that you make the most improvement.
Well, it is because what you like to say is, guys, now that they got one game under their belt, now can they gel and go play the next game? But we're going to play a good football team here, and so it's going to be interesting to see how we do come together this week too, and because it's a team, like I said, this is a good football team, 16 starters back, playing with a lot of confidence. Now, can we play at the level we need to play at to go beat this team?
How did the offensive line grade out after you watched the film?
Well, Cupper played very well. Jake Smith played very well. And I know there's 2 guys that I'm singling out, but both of those guys played well. Miller, for the first time as a true freshman playing in there, played well. And Kessling, though, Hector had 2 or 3 false starts, but still, I thought our offensive line played very well.
How frustrating was the amount of penalties with the offensive line as the game kind of wore on for you?
Well, it was just frustrating because you had 10 penalties. I mean, so you talk about penalties all the time where they're stopping the drive. Now you look at it, we get one and we go back 15 yards without even snapping the football. So we've given up 15 yards, but penalties are so frustrating because now you talk about, hey, tempo. Okay, that stops the tempo because now there's a penalty. Now you got to take the ball back, and that's what kills you. And they're very frustrated.
There's so much talk about tempo, momentum, especially with quarterbacks. You're bringing Teddy in there. What have you as a coaching staff said to those quarterbacks about playing, maybe if you didn't have the drive before, making the most of the opportunity when you're out there?
And that's what has to happen when you get your chance. We don't know how many opportunities you're going to be given, but when you are given an opportunity to take the best of it, you go in there the first play, he makes it, what a good throw, and then we go backwards, and he ends up throwing one, which the one that he threw, the receiver just gets underneath the corner. It may have been, and he's throwing it to the right guy who can go up and make a play to help him on that. But it's whenever you get an opportunity to take advantage of it.
How did he, react to that first game watching the film?
Well, I think he'll be okay because, young guys already have a lot of confidence. They believe in themselves. So he's going to be given plenty more opportunities. And
All 3 quarters.
yes, because you look at Dominique has his package, and you'd like to give him a little more and expand that package some more. But we're looking to play all 3 of them.
Ideally, would you have liked to have played Teddy a little more last week?
Well, you would have thought in the second half we would have got him some more snaps, but just by the way the second half, by the way we played it ourselves, we weren't able to get that done.
What are your impressions? You mentioned their quarterback, but just kind of elaborate on what your impressions are of FIU's quarterback.
Carol, I remember when he was at Mississippi State, then he ended up leaving there and he transferred out to FIU, but just even now, he find the playmakers. They have some playmakers, whether it's T.Y. Hilton, he's going to get the ball in his hand, and then they have number 5 in Times who they get the ball in his hand. 2 good running backs, but he manages their offense. And you look at it, North Texas was a good gauge for us because North Texas they don't have what we have on defense, but they kind of play what we play. So it was just watching how he managed it.
You talked about Hilton. How did you feel your cornerbacks did in game 1, especially coming in with an offense that was looked at as a high-powered passing attack?
Well, that's what we figured. Well, Mary would throw the ball over the park, but our guys did a good job of covering. And when you play a passing team, it just builds confidence. You look at the interception that Connor made on the sideline when the guy tried to throw it away. But whenever you challenge players, and we are challenging them, because you look at Murray last year had averaging around 314 yards throwing. So now the challenge is there for our players, and they stepped up to the challenge.
And now a much bigger challenge, I would say, this week, correct?
Oh, it's a bigger challenge because you're playing against an athlete who is just as fast, and an athlete who can make plays in the open field. And the thing about Hilton, what he can do is we kick him the ball, we still have to go down and cover on kicks, because if he catches that ball, he is very dangerous in returning it. So now you have to cover on your kicks, and then defensively the corner's going to have to be able to cover, because we're going to play man coverage. We're not going to back away from what we're doing, so it's going to give them an opportunity to see if they can go cover.
Will Jordan Pascal, will he be back, or is he still kind of beat up, too beat up to play?
Jordan practiced on yesterday, so he should be back.
Will he get a chance to start, or that's still going to be depending on how the week works out?
No, last week we started with Connor and Johnson, so those two guys, Anthony Connor and Andrew Johnson, will be the two starters.
What's your analysis after a few days of Stein's play?
I've always felt the same about Stein. He's a quarterback that he has a lot to him, and the thing he does, he plays with a lot of confidence. And if you watch him play, that's the way he played out there on Thursday. He played with a lot of confidence, and he will always play with confidence. And he is so comfortable in the offense because he knows the offense. So it's easy for him when he's in his, if you look at it, he missed a few throws, like he missed a throw to Chichester down the pipe. Would have been a big one if he just laid it out there. But still, though, it's just, he's fun to watch.
You were pleased?
I was very pleased with the way he played.
Charlie, were you surprised at the crowd that there were only 46,000 people? I mean, for this program to take that next jump, and you've been at places where the people support the program quite a bit. You need to sell this place out, don't you?
Well, I just think we have very outstanding fans here, and then a lot of times you look at a Thursday and a lot's going on, and believe me, I know that here because my daughter played a volleyball game, so she didn't get to the game till the second half of the game. So it's whatever was going on in people's lives, but it's just the amount that we had there was good. But I know we have outstanding fans, and if they can come to the game, they will be there. But you would like to see more there, but I can understand if someone has an issue with what that could be.
What are your feelings about the Friday night games? I know different coaches, because normally that's the night for the high schools, and ESPN is started up.
Well, you don't want to take away from the high school crowd, because if you look at our football team, you want to support, especially in this city, because we have so many players from the city of Louisville in our program. Devontae Parker, Stephon Robertson, Vic Anderson. You look at St. Axe, you look at Trinity, and you like to see those programs. Now you have a Friday night game. Now you pull in that crowd, because some of the support would like to go watch them play. Now they had to make a decision: either they come here and watch us, or they go watch the high school program. But it gives us a chance also to be on ESPN, because anytime that we can have a chance to show who we are, then it's great that we get that show, and we're going to get that Friday night.
When you're on in the weeknight games, how much does it help with? I don't know if you talk to recruits this week, but people, because it's a lot easier for them to see if there's 50 games on a Saturday, they might not see you, but when you're the only game, like last weekend, this week, they know where to find you.
Well, Friday night, but a lot of them are playing also, but those are not playing. You're telling them, hey, make sure you watch our game. We're going to be on this Friday night at 7 o'clock. But you do, because like you said, you're the only thing on TV that night. So you got a lot of viewers, a lot of people watching you.
You had a lot of young defensive linemen play. How would you rate some of those guys?
BJ DeBose played very well. That was number 90. If you look, he actually was the one that hit the quarterback from the blind side when the ball kind of fluttered up, and Dexter ended up intercepting it. Jamon Brown came in and played some snaps and played very well. But what was good is that our starters, Scruggs, BJ Butler, Brandon Dunn, there's three guys right there that didn't play at all, so get a chance to get all those young guys going, especially those two true freshmen I'm talking about. DeBose played very well. Marcus Smith played well. So some of those young guys had a chance to go and play.
Will 5 line be back too?
Philon will be back on Friday, so now there's another guy that's going to be thrown in the mix.
I feel like your Florida roots are still fresh. Did you recruit a lot of these guys on this FIU team, or know them from the past?
No, because it's there. You're going to recruit, and not that I'm knocking their players, but you just were going to recruit different guys. Now the Hilton, now he was a big time recruit. It was, but he ended up staying home there because he went to Miami Springs High School.
Charlie, what do you want to change about the running game? I think after the game Saturday, you said you felt like maybe they could add 100 yard. You could add 200-yard backs going into that game, and for 61 yards out of Vic and 30 from Jeremy.
Well, you just like to see us block people and move people out of the way, and then it's nothing you need to change. Just, we need to run harder, and we need to make sure that we block and just open up the holes so our guys can run. But you're right, Vic ended up with 60 plus, and then Jeremy ended up with 30 plus. But you would just like to see those guys get more yardage. And you know what? And what Murray State did to us on defense, it probably negated. You have to give them a little credit also.
Do you think? I mean, did they do anything that maybe confused the offensive line? I mean, if it's just a matter of better blocking on some of the run plays.
But and also, you got to take in the hand what I said earlier about you have 5 new linemen, and so it's all new to them. You're looking at John Miller stepping out on the field for the first time. He's playing his first college game. I guarantee you his eyes were very big. Jake Smith was a redshirt freshman last year, and then Cupper had been playing tackle for us. So now that we'd have Mario, we had to take him and move him to center, and then with Hector and Kesslin on the outside. So and you would like to see an improvement from week 1 to week 2, which we hopefully will see. But you would like to see our running game improve.
What caught your eye in other games that Big East teams play? What kind of got your attention?
Well, you like the way that South Florida went to Notre Dame and won that game, and then Syracuse was down, and then they end up coming back and winning. But it just helps our conference when you see teams within this conference win. Because last year, you took such a hit where everybody said it wasn't a good team in this conference. Now to see South Florida go to Notre Dame and then Syracuse come back against Wake Forest, now it's making a stand where this is a really good conference.
Hopefully we never have a delay like that during this season. But what do you do, like when you bring your team in and you don't know when you're going to go?
When I was in Florida, we had one. They just sit in the locker room, and it's like you kind of just wait. The waiting game. Like, okay, what we're going to do? All right, guys, get up and stretch a little, run around. All right, let's meet for a few minutes, and then you meet for a few minutes, and it's nothing you can do. And you look at what the game at Notre Dame started. They didn't finish till late, so it's like wow. You sit there and like wow. I mean, it's really nothing you can. You just hope you're winning.
That's what I was going to ask.
You hope you're winning, so then it's like, okay, hopefully go ahead and call this game if you're winning.
Charlie, what does it say when so many local guys had good games in an opener? Radcliffe, who wasn't talked about a lot, Dexter got the interception, Will and Vic. Talk about what that does for a team in building this program up.
Well, it always, when I took this job, I said we have to recruit the local talent. We cannot allow the players from this city to go somewhere else to school. So you look at Radcliffe, who's a walk-on, an outstanding game. You look at Devontae Parker, really good player. Cupper, Stein, Vic Anderson, Dexter Heyman, Stephon Robinson played some. But you look at the talent on our football team, and I want to say like everyone with the Jamon Brown, everyone within the city had a chance to go play. So you can say there is some talented football players there. There's some outstanding coaches here where they get those guys ready to, then they can come to a Louisville and be ready to. Because you look at Devontae, that catch that he made. I mean, that's athlete versus athlete. But there's a guy just goes up and takes the ball and scores a touchdown. Then Radcliffe, and Radcliffe had been practicing like that, so it didn't surprise me what he did.
Well, and 3 of those guys you just mentioned were walk-ons at one point in their career,
right.
At least. I mean, talk that desire. I mean, these guys grew up here, looked at this program from a young age. What does that tell the other players in the program?
Well, but it means something to them. Like you said, they walked on here, so it means so much to them, and they probably grew up wanting to come to school here. So it's a lot said when somebody grows up within your city and wants to come to school, and like Radcliffe wanted to come here. Cupper, there's another Stein's another one. So there's guys that grew up right here in the city and they want to come to school here.
Charlie, I know you want to see general improvement this week. Is there any specific areas that you will emphasize, whether it be tempo, rhythm, something along those lines?
Well, you just like to see us improve as a whole football team. You know, even though we say we play well on defense, we miss too many tackles. We have to tackle better on defense and not give up the big play this week because you're playing against, you're going to have to corral a really outstanding football player. Look at offensively, just tempo and rhythm and just maintaining it and just playing consistent for a full football game. And then in the kicking game, it's so important that we cover and we return well because we're going to have to go down and we're going to have to cover T.Y. Hilton. Now, when we get a chance to get a return, we had to go break one, get some really good return yardage, and then eliminate the penalties. It was way too many penalties in that game, and that's just all about just being a disciplined football team.
Does this game become at all more dangerous because you've got Kentucky on the horizon, maybe guys looking ahead a little bit?
No, they can't look ahead. We're not good enough to look ahead. I would say this. It has been no mention at all of Kentucky. I think that what our guys want to do after playing the way they just played is making sure we don't play like that again and focusing on this team.